One question
I
here.
totally ran the preloader.
Well, one question worth answering here before we get into too much of anything, guys. Someone in chat did ask, when is Liquid playing next? Liquid's actually played out. They're qualified in 4th place currently. They're basically hoping Millenium does not get a 5-0 or 5-1 today to stay there, and then Liquid will play in the playoffs, as far as when Liquid's playing next. So, if you guys are Team Liquid players, you know who to root for. If you're not, then, well, good luck. Anyways, this is the Acer Team Story Cup. Complexity Gaming versus Millenium. I'm Rifkin, joined today by Penguin, and there's a lot on the line for the match today for a very dire price. We'll talk about that more in a second. Spawning here in the top left corner of the map, though, playing for Complexity and sporting the color blue, it is the Blue Terran, QXC.
And his opponent spawning in the bottom right spawn location for Millenium. As you just heard from Rifkin, this guy cannot die. His team has to try to take a 5-0 or a 5-1 today. Can he start them off with a win? It's ForGG.
Yeah, and so for some quick context, guys, you can go read up on the details if you want on Liquipedia, but the long story short is Millenium's not playing for the series. Well, they are playing for the series technically, but so much as they are for the map score. They've got 2 matches left. They've got this series today versus Complexity Gaming and another versus Invictus Gaming, I believe next week sometime. And between these 2 series, they have to get a 10-0 or a 10-1 to knock Team Liquid out of 4th place in the playoffs.
Meanwhile, for those of you who might be thinking, oh, well, Complexity's down in 9th. They have no chance of getting 4th. They might not be taking this seriously. That is wrong, because Complexity is fighting to stay in the Acer Team Story Cup. The bottom 2 teams, 9th and 10th place, are eliminated from the Acer Team Story Cup and have to re-qualify. Sitting in 9th place, if they win one of their last 2 matches, they will overtake Empire Ensa, and Empire Ensa and Invictus will be relegated.
Yeah, so it's...
Fun fact, actually. Empire Ensa is already set. They are going to be relegated, but they're not currently 9th or 10th.
But Penguin can probably tell you guys, like, it's not fun having to re-qualify, because there's always that gamble that in the qualifiers you get some sort of badass team that you can't compete against. So the comfort, the luxury of just getting an auto invite back to the next season, that's a big deal. Yeah.
And, well, there's some strong teams that are going to be trying to qualify for sure. I mean, if you look at this, there's some notable teams missing. EG's not in here. If they want to try to qualify, they will definitely be, I would say, probably the favorites to go through. I don't know if they've tried, though. But, I mean, there are strong teams that can definitely pose a threat to any of the teams that do get relegated. So, really important for Complexity to stay in here. And their own player, QXC, is going to be opening up with a CC on the low ground. CC first, followed by, looks like Rax, then Gas. Nectar is probably going to be jumping out of the game momentarily.
Game paused.
Yeah.
Jesus. He's lagging in a pause.
So
This guy's getting DDoS or something.
I think I was going to actually bring that point up. I believe he's one of the Millenium casters, if I'm not mistaken.
Is he? I thought he was the admin.
Maybe he's the admin. Maybe I misunderstood what was going on in chat there. But I was going to say the Millenium House has actually been the victim of several DDoS attacks. Not just recently, but during the Acer Team Story Cup cast. There we go. Take has spoken.
The god has spoken. Goodbye, Nectar.
You probably can't.
It's not the way we wanted to see him get out.
He's probably too busy lagging out to leave.
Yeah. Alright, well, just taking a look at what's going on right now. ForGG has, he's got a reactor on the way up. Looks like he's going to be going into potentially reactored Reapers. I don't think so, actually. No, he didn't go for a Reaper first, so that's not going to be happening. Most likely just going to be getting reactored Marines out. Going to be expanding pretty soon, I would assume. Looks like he wants to actually try to put some pressure on the CC first here. He's already rallied 2 Marines forward, and he's going to be taking a CC behind this. Will he put down a bunker with this forward SCV? That would be a kind of interesting play.
I would love if this was the bunker. I mean, that would be so silly and aggressive, but QXC already has his on the way. I was going to say, though, that reactor, yeah, I'm feeling the Marines out of that, too. So oftentimes in TVT, you can just safely assume Banshees will be out at some point in the game. Whether they're early or whether they're late, one thing you do need is anti-air, and having several Marines will cover that role. But looks like, oh, first blood on the other half of the map, maybe?
Maybe.
Oh,
this bunker's not going to finish Rifkin. Down it goes.
And blood
down
for
the
blood.
goes, rather. And, well, that's a nice little pick-off here for ForGG. He's not really able to get much else done to this yet, but he's forced to pull off 4 of these SCVs, so maybe he can even focus another one down.
Yeah, he didn't need to pulled too much off that. I like that he didn't overreact. One big thing for QXC right there would have been like pulling a whole mineral line. Just no way.
Yeah. Gotta surround the Marines, man.
But okay, factory coming out next. Big thing, I guess, by poking up there and seeing not only the bunker, knows the expansion's down. Just confirmed. Did he see it? Yeah, he did see the actual orbital. So he knows it won't be fast Banshees. Now, I don't know whether QXC, or not QXC, sorry. I don't know if ForGG was planning to rush out those Banshees himself, but will certainly feel a little more comfortable if he chooses to do so. But I'm kind of thinking it's going to be, I would love if this was elevated Hellions instead. 4 Hellions,
like
medevac to the main.
That. Yeah, I would love that. It looks like it's going to be about 8 Marines finishing up around the same time that the medevac comes out by the looks of it. His own orbital is going to be starting up as well now. ForGG has a pretty nice supply lead already. He's down by 2 workers, though. That's a sort of byproduct of QXC's earlier CC. And QXC's own starport's going to be coming on up now. He's getting a tech lab, so QXC is going to be going Banshees, and that's not really going to match up all too well against this for him. Oh, money scan going down, though.
Yeah, well, the question is whether QXC recognizes where this is going to come in. Of course, he's got the depots to give that vision on the side. I mean, this top right corner of the base, this is where everybody wants to drop when it comes to StarCraft 2, no matter what race you are. And what's also worth noting, I really like the way QXC, or no, sorry, not Q, I keep saying the wrong player names. I love the way ForGG spread his Marines out at the top of the ramp. If he left them clumped and idle, it could have been very dangerous if there was a Hellion run by. But he is sending his own Hellion run by across the map. There's not a lot in this bunker, but he should be able to run past us. The Hellions are fast enough. If he unloads at the main, runs the Hellions to the natural, or just focuses all of his forces there, QXC has an ample force to take on the Hellions one-on-one, but not if the Marines come with them.
Well, Cloak's on the way now for QXC. He's definitely going to be able to do some damage back to ForGG, but the question right now is how much damage can ForGG get done? And it looks like against expectations of QXC, ForGG is going to drop into the natural here. Here come the Hellions, just going to run on past.
Oh, but there's
Hellions
so many.
Opponent.
Yeah, there's no way that QXC can actually engage into this. Recognizes. I like that he pulls back all the SCVs right away. Doesn't try and fight this. Doesn't try and waste time. Knows that he's in trouble. So just... Oh, no cancel on supply depot. That's unfortunate. But, ooh, nice hit with those Hellions initially. Gets quite a few Marines, but at the cost of one of his own Hellions. Of course, he can repair with these SCVs if he needs to.
This is a really nice play by ForGG, though. He's just delaying this base re-landing here for QXC, and he's getting his own economy going faster. He's producing 2 SCVs at a time instead of 1. He's got a Viking on the way. He'll be able to deal with the counter pressure very, very easily.
Penguin, I am loving the control QXC is showing right now, by the way, guys. He's lost
really nice
no Hellions so far. Well, 1, my bad, sorry. But anyways, no, with great control, this could have been much worse. This was an engagement where if he just A-moved in, ForGG might not have killed him outright, but he would have equalized the army. Now ForGG was, quite frankly, a bit of a back burner, no pun intended, with these Hellions getting fried underneath them. Nothing left of this medevac sent to go back home. Meanwhile, QXC's Banshee looks like it was scanned and picked off. Don't know why it was scanned, because the Raven was right there, but hey, whatever works.
Just be safe, man. Yeah, we're definitely going to be seeing mech from ForGG. We don't see additional factories just yet. This engineering bay, though, is only going to be for missile turrets. Sending out his barracks to the other side of the map is kind of nonsensical if you're going bio, and by now he would have already added on extra barracks anyway. So definitely mech out of ForGG, who's now getting his own cloak. Here comes the other Banshee here for ForGG, for QXC. Now
you did it too. It's so easy.
This one's gonna go down. Yeah, another. So 2 cloak Banshees going down. Very nice defense for ForGG overall.
What's really important, though, with ForGG getting his a little bit later, it means they might live a bit longer to make it to that sort of mid to late game. If he sends them across the map, oh, well, hang on, we got 4 Hellions now load up into this medevac, and unfortunately, QXC did see this, so not at all going to get caught unprepared. Both of these players, beautiful hit off their initiative for QXC. Nice spreading, though.
Oh, nice spreading.
Yeah. Man, Hellion fights are so... like refined. It's so silly. If you guys have ever played Micro Wars, you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, this Banshee coming out later from ForGG. Yes, he can send this across the map and try and get some SCVs that way if he wants to. If he keeps this alive, though, how many times have you seen tank lines get broken by like one Banshee, right? So
this is actually kind of cool, though. Out of ForGG, he's going to be answering the fact that he has a bit of a lesser economy than his opponent, or did from the beginning anyway, by getting a faster 3rd CC. For that, his factories are going to be a little bit later. His armories around the same time, though. So overall, things are going to continue being pretty even here. The big question is going to be whether QXC can do some damage with these Hellions. I believe he has a higher number of Hellions at the moment. No, they're actually even. So everything is looking very, very even so far.
Well, the health on these are really low. A lot of these are going to pop right away, don't forget.
Yeah, but QXC is going to lose another Banshee, and that's another loss.
But ForGG's also lost one of his, sending the second one across the map, now trying to get on in there if he can. I don't know. Both players pretty on top of the defense here. Banshee's not going to catch either of them off guard. No quick, abrupt GGs, at least not yet. Knock on wood.
Yeah, well, we do actually have QXC pulling on back of these Hellions. Meanwhile, ForGG is going to get himself in a very nice position if he can establish his third base here, because the third CC for QXC is only starting just now. Meanwhile, the tank count's going to be very, very important later in the game, but we don't actually have any tanks yet.
That, and we have mech versus mech, Penguin. I was so focused on ForGG. We got Blue Flame coming out of both players. These Hellion fights are going to be insane. So to give some proper context, guys, if you've never seen Hellion fights, first off, take the little bit of micro we've been watching so far and extrapolate that like 10 times. More importantly, the fact that everything's going to get basically one shot when there's Blue Flame available. Typically what you want to do is have Hellbats, right, in your mech army to soak for the tanks, but that's not necessarily going to work in this particular instance. In fact, Hellbats are worse than Hellions for dogfighting because they're so slow and the range is so limited.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, this is actually kind of funny because the style that QXC is playing is kind of called ForGG's style of mech. You just get a ton of Hellions. And ironically enough, QXC is actually getting more than ForGG this time around. ForGG has switched into that end of that Hellbat production that you were talking about. Also going on up to 5 factories now. Looks like QXC is still only on the initial 3. He's adding on a 4th one right now himself. And, well,
Penguin,
Blue
would you
Flame's
say...
about to finish for him.
Would you say QXC's fighting fire with fire?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Actually, small shout out to the rock tower that's finally going down here. It took about 1,000,000 years to break those other rocks. And Hellions are loud as hell.
But this one is a little weaker, so...
But actually, this makes that Banshee that ForGG has right now incredibly more important. There's going to be no anti-air for either of these guys except for the Vikings, and the Vikings will be so busy shooting each other, this one Banshee may actually be allowed to go unembedded and kill multiple Hellions or tanks or Hellbats or what have you.
It would be huge if ForGG was able to get a sky advantage here, but that's not going to be the case. QXC is pumping out two Vikings at a time, while ForGG is just pumping out more medevacs for the Hellbat drops. Blue Flame, of course, makes these Hellbats kind of like the Hellbats of old. They just look cooler. And, well, QXC is actually adding in mines.
I think QXC being red is going to look like Mario Sunshine with these Hellbats, Penguin.
QXC being red, but QXC's blue.
Or, sorry, ForGG. Man, I can't do player names. What is with these two player names? They're nothing alike.
Hellbats coming on into the 3rd here. Not really able to do all that much just yet.
No, they get a good couple SCVs, though. I mean,
yeah.
Value for sure. 4 kills on one, 5 on the other, and the medevac... Oh, no, wait. I thought the medevac stayed alive. Nope, it got destroyed.
That massive Viking force is going to continue growing, and you know what's going to be a big threat is QXC. I was about to say QXC is going to want to make a sky transition later, and he's already adding on its 2nd starport right now.
And let's not forget, too, in a worst-case scenario for ForGG, he might not be able to get an air advantage straight up through the air right now, but you can always invest in a Thor or 2. However, in the early stages of the game like this, before you're max, it's really important. It's critical to just have those units available. If you invest in a Thor so early, that's basically 2 tanks, 4 Hellions out the door that you could have otherwise had. Dogfight going down, but...
That's not going to go well for ForGG at all.
Point defense turn goes down way too late. Now, actually, everything down, forced to push into this. ForGG forced into a very uncomfortable situation, moving into the tank lines. This is Hellbats on the front lines, but as we see, guys, Hellions of Blue Flame are so good versus Hellbats.
They are, and now ForGG's already... He was at about a 20 supply lead just about a minute and a half ago, and now he's sitting 10 supply in a deficit. His own 4th command center starting the same time as QXC, so he's not going to get an advantage there, but a huge sacrifice on these Hellions! QXC just losing 7 for free!
Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward move. I really think he was expecting ForGG to have gone home, but pushing through 2 fronts once again. Oh no, ForGG gives away a tank. Gotta have those Hellbats on the front line. But I like that he's bringing in missile turrets. He's got no actual defense, so rather than just kind of sitting here and letting QXC go free with the air control, gets a couple turrets down. It will help. Tank being unloaded here in the high ground position. Bit of an awkward spot. Yeah, it is kind of cool. Splash damage is going to be a bit of a pain here. One of those things takes some run, but QXC evacuated. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, a Hellion, run by gets into the natural and kills quite a few SCVs so far. Tank will try and clean this up, but both players doing a ton of economic damage right now. This base has been completely lifted off, but QXC did manage to save a lot of the SCVs. However, drop in the main now. QXC with some Hellions from Blue Flame. Can they get to those mineral lines instead of the supply depot?
Looks like they can risk in, and they're going to be able to wreak a little bit of havoc here. Most of the mineral patch is already mined out, but the Hellions are lining up. One good shot goes down. QXC gets all of the Hellions out alive. 4th base going to be established now for 5th base going to be established now for ForGG. Jesus. And now he's already up to 3 starports on his own, so he's starting to produce his own air army, trying to get air superiority. And, you know, I really like what he has here. He's up to now 5 bases, even though he's losing a lot of workers to these Hellion run-bys. He's still only down by 4.
Alright, about time the bench gets over here too. I was a little worried. These tanks were abandoned and exposed so long ago. This is such an investment for ForGG to lose out on. This is so many tanks, Penguin. This is like 8 tanks.
This is absolutely gigantic, but he is pushing across the map with the rest of his army.
But no anti-air. None.
Yeah,
this one Banshee could win him the
has,
game. Oh, he's got some
he
turrets,
has a couple of Vikings. Okay, Vikings are coming on over now to deal with the Banshee. I assume they're going to focus down the Banshee, but it does have cloak. And he is producing 4 Vikings at a time. Where's the rest of his army? So he does have a lot of air. He's producing more than QXC at this point. Looking at the actual unit counting stage, 8 to 7 Vikings in ForGG's favor. So he does have an air advantage now.
Well, actually, let's not forget about the Raven too. Whether it's a point defense drone or a secret missile, one way or another, pretty good investment to have. But these Hellions trying to run around the map, ForGG is not going to let that happen. There's some planetary up here too, so this is a bit rough for QXC, I should say. He took a really nice engagement early on, caught ForGG with his pants down, so to speak, running into this choke here, but hasn't really been able to capitalize on it. In fact, has been kind of choked within his own base. Now starting to move out with his own army, but at a severely lesser supply.
Yeah, but he does get the first siege up here, and that could be critical. He's going to be able to shell away at the tanks long before ForGG. ForGG's still not sieging up, losing a lot of supply, but he is going to be able to land his Vikings.
Both players landing the Vikings. Point defense or secret missiles going off on those tanks. Penguin, will they be good? They can't get the tanks. But now that one Banshee.
Huge win for QXC. But he does need to work on getting a 4th base established. He's going to float one over now, and that's definitely going to help him get into a better position. Now a Hellion run by coming on into the natural or the 3rd. Looks like he's going to go for the 3rd. 6 Hellions will roast everything here.
Yeah, they got them really low earlier too, so it's like one less volley necessary. Man, both players losing countless SCVs this game, up to 62 kills, 64 kills so far as QXC. But as stated by you earlier, when you're on 5 bases like this, I don't know if that's necessarily the worst thing to have to worry about. In fact, losing supply might actually help you, as we saw him with a superior army advantage earlier on.
Yeah, but I mean, QXC does have a superior position now after that one brilliant engagement in the middle of the map. The sky advantage definitely going to go for ForGG at the moment, sitting at, actually he's only sitting at 8 to 9 Vikings, and he's actually behind, but he will slowly take the Viking lead. But the Viking lead's all well and good. What I'm interested in is when are they going to transition into the higher tech sky units? It's got to come eventually.
I don't think it will, but most importantly right now, Penguin, these 2 Banshees, normally it's kind of like cool, but look how low half these tanks are already at half health. These Banshees will get so many kills if they focus fire.
They will, and in they come. Scans going down, the Vikings trying to shell away at each other, the upgrades aren't even. It does look like ForGG going to be taking a slightly better sky engagement. Should be able to force his way, the scan wears off, does get another one down. Going to try to chase down these Banshees, and he will by the looks of it, and he's moving into the 3rd.
Yeah, and actually positionally out of range here. QXC going to be able to take some hits without returning them. He doesn't have the vision to shoot that tank. Loses that one really nicely positioned tank, and these Banshees are finally going to go down. And now Seuss up here into the 3rd. QXC in a bit of trouble. Did take a base towards the south, but going to have to give up one of his own. This is like the 3rd time this game he's had to lift up a base, and that's not something you want to have to do. But yeah, luckily for him... Oh, I was going to say, luckily he got across the map with more Hellions, but it looks like he did get half of them cleaned up on the way. Only 2 Blue Flame Hellions get the mineral line, but it's enough to do damage. It's enough to kill SCVs.
Yeah, but as you were saying before, the army supply is the real problem for QXC right now. He has an army that I don't know if he can actually stop moving towards production. Now these tanks are going to siege up on the production.
Oh, that's such a good spot.
Yeah, there's an upgrade advantage for the Vikings for the next...
Oh, the Thor! The Thor! If he keeps this alive, it'll be good. It's so close to being dead. If he gets a volley off on these Vikings, most of them are going to pop. There we go.
But it's still, the Thor is still kind of stuck there. Down it goes.
Yeah, that splash damage.
And yeah, ForGG looks like he's actually in a prime position to make this game his own unless he makes another big blunder.
I know, QXC in this situation would love to just, of course, drop some Hellbats on top of those tanks or something, but not for the opportunity. Sees him unsieged, decides to press the advantage. Takes out the tanks on the low ground that are already sieged. Now unsieged tanks are all that remain. The Hellbats will get right into this. So QXC does clean this up, but here comes round number 2 immediately. Without hesitation, ForGG's already sieged on outside the main base, but outside the only mining effective base of QXC. It's a bit rough. He's on this one base to rely on. The natural base is pretty much mined out. And oh, the
and in comes QXC. He's going to try to break the line. I don't know if he has enough. The Hellbats for ForGG. pushing forward. Some tanks still unsieged before GG, but it's going to be enough anyway. QXC plummeting to under 100 supply. GG. We're off to a good start.
Yeah, it's off to a necessary start too. I mean,
Yeah.
let's not forget that whole 5-0-5-1 situation.
And as you were saying before, I think this is not the match where they want to drop a game.
It's next week, yeah. Invictus
You have to
game.
assume that Jim will take a game because of Jim, the way he plays is just so weird that basically Millenium is going to be trying with all their might to get a to just basically get a 4-5-0 here. Sorry, just got distracted for a second.
I was trying to help you. I didn't know which point you were going to, but all right, guys.
My bad.
With that being said, we are going to test out some ads so we get the next game up. Of course, we'll update you in chat as soon as we know who's coming up next, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you again for some more Acer Team Story Cup in just a sec. It's a best of 9 between these two teams.